About a month and a half ago, the brand of Lattafa released the newest member of the Asad line, which is called Asad Bourbon. Now, immediately after this was available, I got my hands on a bottle of it and I even shared with you my initial impressions. And now, slightly over a month down the road, I'm ready to do my full review and to tell you my honest opinion on whether Lattafa's Asad Bourbon is actually worth checking out. When initially Lattafa's Asad Bourbon was announced, there was a bit of confusion, and in fact even after it was released in the first few days of after the release date of Asad Bourbon, there was a bit of confusion about the scent of this fragrance. A lot of people, me including, actually had the thought that this will actually include a a boozy note because of the word bourbon that contains the name that is contained in the name of this fragrance. I was expecting this to have a boozy vibe, and when I got it and I tried it for the first time, to be honest with you, I firstly got a little bit disappointed because there was no boozy note to be found in this fragrance. And as it turned out to be, the word bourbon actually does not point to the note of bourbon or the boozy note of bourbon. It has to do with the note of vanilla bourbon. But with that out of the way, I'm going to quickly show you the presentation and the bottle design, and then I'll talk about the actual scent of Asad Bourbon. The box of Asad Bourbon from Lattafa has pretty much the exact same design as the other members of the Asad line. This one coming in this sort of a brownish color with a sort of a red tint to it. The accent color here is golden. The box looks nice, nice enough in my opinion. The important things here: bottle size is 100 milliliters and the concentration is EDP. And the bottle design is again pretty much exactly the same as you'll get with the other two members of the Asad line. It has this plastic, very plasticky feeling body. Inside you're actually getting a glass bottle that's covered by the plastic body. The cap is very plasticky, but the good thing is that it's a very secure fit. You'll get a secure click when you put it back on. And all around, if you are a fan of the original Asad bottle design, you'll probably end up liking this one as well. And now let's talk about the scent of Asad Bourbon. As I said, initially when this was announced and it was firstly available, there was quite a bit of confusion about the scent of Asad Bourbon. Some people thought that this fragrance will smell a little bit like pure malt, pure Havana from Mugler. Others expected this one to have a note of tobacco, to have a boozy note, but in the end it turned out to be something very, very different. The sprayer is good, not the best one in the world, but still good enough to do its job. And the scent itself is actually a very aromatic fragrance that opens up in a nice, sort of a slightly fresh and also fruity and sweet way. There's a hint of spiciness in this fragrance. I think there's a note of pink pepper that's contained in here, but it's not overly strong. It's not a very spicy fragrance. To me, the dominating notes in the opening of this one are the lavender note and that Mirabelle note, which adds a bit of fruity sweetness to the opening of this one. Somewhere in the background, there's a bit of greenness and also a bit of sweetness. There's some amber. There's that bourbon vanilla note, which contributes to the name Asad Bourbon, but in the opening it's not overly sweet, it's more on the aromatic side, slightly fruity, feeling a little bit fresh and a hint of spiciness. And when this fragrance goes into its dry down, it actually turns into something a little bit sweeter. That vanillic note, that amber note, both of them are a lot stronger on the dry down compared to the opening. There's a hint of cacao in this one. You still get some of that aromaticness from the lavender, which will stay with you for quite a bit of time, and maybe a hint of sort of an earthy vetiver note in the dry down of Asad Bourbon. But all around it's a sweet, slightly spicy, and very aromatic feeling fragrance that's not overly sweet, it's not overly spicy. It's a very safe fragrance to wear. Actually, it's nicely done. There's no harshness or anything like that, and it's a fragrance that's very much on the safe side when it comes to the scent profile. It doesn't lean too much into any direction, the sweetness, the spiciness, or too much fruitiness or whatever. It's pretty much a very safe to wear fragrance. When it comes to what this smells similar to, I don't think this is a straight up clone of anything, but definitely, personally for me, this is quite a bit reminiscent of two fragrances from the brand of Azzaro. And I'm talking about Azzaro's The Most Wanted and The Most Wanted Parfum. Personally, for me, this smells quite a bit like the Most Wanted. You also, on the dry down, because of the ramped up sweetness, that ambery and vanillic sweetness, you probably will find some vibes from Jean-Paul Gaultier's Scandal per Homme Absolu, but it's not as sweet as the Scandal of fragrance, the Jean-Paul Gaultier fragrance. I know some people find this to be closer to the Scandal fragrance, the original fragrance, but to me this leans more to the Azzaro side, the Most Wanted. It's again a very aromatic fragrance that has enough sweetness and some spiciness to be very likable and very easy to wear, but at the same time it's not a straight up clone in my opinion of anything, just smelling similar to the Azzaro fragrances. When it comes to performance, this, at least in my sort of experience so far for about 1 month, has been giving me roughly about 8 hours of performance. So it's definitely above average when it comes to performance, but also definitely not something super strong or something beastly. Projection wise, it will project nicely for the first about hour and a half. In fact, in the first about 1 hour, the projection is very nice, quite strong, but then after the 1 hour mark, it gradually starts to sit closer and closer to the skin. So again, performance wise, a good performer, decent performing scent, just don't expect wonders. When it comes to the price, now I've not checked the prices lately, but when I personally got this one, because it was basically just after it was initially released, it used to be a little bit more on the expensive side for something from the Asad line. I personally paid about 37-38 euros, which will make it around about $45, and at that price point it's a little bit too much in my opinion. Probably nowadays this can be found for less. I would say that at a price point of around about 30 euros or about $35, you're getting a good deal. Anything above that, in my opinion, is a bit too pricey for what you get in return. And versatility wise, this is actually a very versatile scent that can be worn pretty much all year round. It's a versatile fragrance, very versatile masculine fragrance. I would stray using this one only in the hottest days of the summer, but you can definitely get away with this one in summertime, especially if you're wearing it through the night. And at the end, a few final words about Lattafa Asad Bourbon. I would say that this is a very solid release from the brand of Lattafa. It's nothing spectacular, it's nothing special, it's nothing that will smell super unique or that lasts for ages or anything like that. It's a fragrance that's more on the safe side, and in a way it reminds me a little bit of Lattafa Jasor. Not that it smells the same, it's just the same type of fragrance that's very aromatic, that has enough sweetness to be a crowd pleaser, to be easy to wear, and that it's a very sort of a safe blind buy purchase. Something on the very safe side if you don't know what to wear, pretty much a dumb rich type of scent. So in that point of view, I think Lattafa have done a good job with Asad Bourbon. Again, sweet, slightly spicy, slightly green, with a bit of a freshness, feeling very aromatic, very masculine, and very versatile. So if you're looking for such a type of scent, something dumb rich that smells modern, smells nice, and it's a crowd pleaser and has decent performance, I definitely think that Asad Bourbon is worthy of being checked out. Just don't overpay for this fragrance. As I said, I think a price point at around about 30 euros for me. At that price point, I think it's a good deal. Anything over that, actually, I think you're overpaying. At the end of the day, Lattafa Asad Bourbon will get a like from me. So guys, in today's video I shared with you my review of one of the recent Lattafa fragrances released. It's part of the Asad line, and it's called Asad Bourbon. I hope that you found this video interesting to watch. If you did, give it a like, and I also hope that you're going to join me tomorrow for your daily dose of some fragrance content. And until then, stay safe and bye bye.